The movie begins with a glamorous party happening inside a luxurious apartment in New York City. This elegant place belongs to Tom Mullen, a very rich man who owns a successful airline business. He is throwing this party to show a brand new commercial that shares his personal journey, how he worked hard and became a millionaire all on his own. The advertisement proudly shows how he built his company from nothing, with no help or money from family. It focuses on his self-made success.
We're still pretty small in the scheme of things, but then I never wanted to be the biggest.
As the party goes on, the movie switches between scenes of smiling guests enjoying themselves and a much darker situation elsewhere. In a hidden and secret location, a group of unknown people is shown preparing something dangerous. These people are kidnappers, and they're setting up a small, unpleasant room designed to keep someone locked up. It's clear they are planning to kidnap someone very soon. This contrast between the luxurious party and the hidden criminal activity sets up the film's central conflict: wealth versus desperation. Not long after, Tom is seen attending a science fair held in Central Park. He is there with his wife Kate and their young son Sean. Kate is one of the judges at the event. While they are walking around the fair, Sean starts to get distracted.
This big guy here is what?
Son.
Okay.
He slowly moves away from his parents without them noticing. A short time later, Sean is abducted by a group of criminals. The people involved in this crime include Maris Connor, a woman who works as the caterer and had access to the Mullen household during events. There are also two brothers, Clark and Cubby Barnes, both of whom have been involved in criminal activities before. The last member of the group is Miles Roberts, a man who is good with computers and technology. Together, the group grabs Sean, throws him into the back of a white van, and quickly drives away. A caterer, two ex-cons, and a tech guy. This is in Ocean's 11. These are desperate amateurs. Tom and Kate soon realize that Sean is missing. They panic and start running around, calling out his name, desperately searching for him in the crowd. But Sean is gone. They can't find him anywhere. A short while later at home, the kidnappers contact the couple through an email. They send a video message that shows Sean blindfolded and chained to a bed. He looks terrified and completely helpless. The person speaking in the video uses a voice changer, making it impossible to recognize who they are. They demand a ransom of $2 million and warn that if the police or news media get involved, Sean will be killed. Even though the threat is serious, Tom and Kate feel they cannot deal with this alone, so they decide to call the FBI. To avoid attention, the FBI agents arrive at the Mullen family's penthouse disguised as renovation workers. The team is led by Agent Lonnie Hawkins.
We got Kimber Welsh, Jack Sickler, David.
Once inside, Agent Hawkins asks the couple whether they want to negotiate with the kidnappers or simply pay the ransom. Tom has already made up his mind. He has packed 2 large suitcases filled with money, ready to hand over as soon as he gets instructions from the kidnappers. Tom's instant pay them reaction hints he's used to money fixing his problems, but will it this time? Meanwhile, back at the kidnappers' hideout in Brooklyn, one of the group members, Cubby, starts to feel guilty. He feels sympathetic for hurting Sean, so he takes a seat on his side and gives him a chocolate to eat. However, the woman Maris scolds Chubby for even feeling bad and trying to make the kid feel better.
What are you doing? You like this kid? You want to get to know him, get a little relationship going?
Cubby's the only one with a conscience. In a heist gone wrong, that's a death sentence. The others are also supporting the woman, claiming Cubby shouldn't play such games with the boy since the situation is more serious than he thinks. But Chubby thinks the boy won't even recall their faces since he is blindfolded. Clark, Cubby's brother, also sides with what the others are saying, but surely he is protective towards his brother and doesn't want the other to disrespect him. Back at the Mullen penthouse, Tom has a private conversation with Agent Hawkins. He reveals a secret from his past. Years ago, during a union conflict, Tom paid off a powerful machinists union leader to stop a strike. Because of this illegal payment, the union leader went to prison. However, Tom was never punished or even charged. He now wonders if this past mistake is connected to his son's kidnapping. To check this possible lead, Hawkins sets up a meeting between Tom and the imprisoned union leader. After they talk, it becomes clear that the man has nothing to do with Sean's disappearance.
Where's my son? What? Then you mother are accusing me! Get off here!
Later on back at Cubby, wanting to make the boy feel better, Cubby decides to go out and buy some cereal and videotapes. He walks to a nearby corner store, not realizing that police officers are already outside working on a completely different case. Detective Jimmy Shaker and his partner are inside the store, questioning a man who has just tried to rob the place.
You ever seen that before? No? Are you gonna find your prints on that?
No.
As they talk to the suspect, the man notices Cubby behaving oddly and watches him with suspicion. Something about Cubby doesn't seem right. After the questioning, Jimmy leaves the store with his partner. But a few minutes later, he quietly comes back and starts following Cubby without being noticed. Jimmy secretly follows him all the way to the hideouts. Once he arrives, he sneaks in and goes past the locked room where Sean is being kept. Then, in a shocking moment, Jimmy pulls out a gun and points it at Cubby's head. This is when the big twist is revealed. Jimmy the detective is actually the leader of the kidnapping group. Plot twist, the cop's the villain, and just like that, the stakes skyrocket. He angrily tells Cubby that his trip to the store was careless and could have ruined everything. Jimmy says Cubby is lucky no one realized the known criminal was out buying children's food.
What the hell are you gonna do with the videos? Huh?
At night, we see Maris and Jimmy in the bed, and we understand that they are dating, and she's here because of him. She mentioned how neither Cubby nor the others respect her, and that she thinks the whole team is irresponsible, and why Jimmy needed to include them in the plan.
Why do we need them? Why?
We can't do this alone.
Back at the Mullen penthouse, Jimmy, still using a disguised voice, calls again and gives new directions for dropping off the expected ransom. The FBI tries to track the call, but Jimmy uses advanced technology to block their efforts. Jimmy's tech blocking the FBI? Convenient, but hey, it's the 90s. Hacking was magic back then. The agents suggest using a decoy, a man who looks like Tom, to deliver the money, but Tom refuses. He insists on doing it himself. The FBI agrees, and they hide a small microphone on Tom to listen in during the drop-off. Tom insists on delivering the cash himself. Pride or paternal instinct? Either way, it's reckless. Amidst this, Jimmy and the kidnappers are preparing to depart, and Cubby once again goes to Sean and assures him he is close enough to be reunited with his family, and it will soon happen.
It's almost over, kid.
When?
Soon enough, Tom drives to the first meeting point. When he gets there, a call on his car phone tells him to go to a gym. Once inside, Jimmy orders him to jump into the swimming pool. At the bottom, Tom finds a locker key, but the water causes the secret microphone to stop working.
Track all unsubs that exit the building.
After getting out of the water, Tom uses the key to open a locker. Inside, he finds a radio and a new outfit. He is told to change clothes and move the money into 2 duffel bags. He does what he's told and finds a car waiting outside. The original suitcases filled with money are left behind, now out of the FBI's reach. As the day turns to night, Tom keeps driving while Jimmy secretly follows him in another car. Over the radio, Jimmy starts teasing Tom, saying he always uses money to fix his problems, just like he did when he paid off the union leader.
Yeah, I saw your TV commercial. That's not bad. That's pretty good. But let me...
Tom tries to ask about his son or talk to Sean, but Jimmy avoids the questions. Jimmy's mocking Tom over the radio is peak villain gloating. Someone's enjoying this too much. Frustrated, Tom pulls over. The radio signal becomes weak, which helps Tom realize that Jimmy must be nearby, following him. Tom drives again and the signal gets stronger.
What a city.
Jimmy then tells him to turn off the main road and head to a rock quarry. He says that once Tom drops off the money, he will receive the address where Sean is being held. At the quarry, Cubby shows up riding an ATV. He demands the money. Tom asks for the promised location, but Cubby ignores him and tries to take the bags.
You want to see a kid again, man? Then give me the money!
Suddenly, 2 helicopters arrive carrying a SWAT team. They surround the area. Panicking, Cubby tries to escape with the money. As he drives off, he starts shooting at the officers, hitting one of them. A sniper from a helicopter shoots Cubby in the neck, knocking him off the vehicle.
Oh, shit. SWAT team leader to CP. We have an agent down.
Tom rushes over, hoping Cubby might still be alive and willing to talk. But Cubby is badly injured and dies without saying a word.
Where is he? What are you done with him?
Tom is furious. He blames the FBI for killing the only person who might have led them to his son.
You killed my son.
Agent Hawkins tries to calm Tom down. He explains that although Cubby is dead, they now know who he is. Cubby is a small-time criminal who often worked with his older brother, Clark Barnes. Clark is more dangerous and more experienced in crime. The agents believe that finding Clark is now the best chance they have to save Sean.
He's the brains in the family, and we also know he's a lot higher up the criminal food chain.
Back at the hideout, Clark is devastated after losing his younger brother. He is filled with rage and no longer wants to follow the plan. He suggests they kill Sean and leave. Maris agrees, thinking the plan is falling apart.
I'm fingered. I can't go back to my life. What do you want me to do? You tell me.
But Jimmy, still in control, strongly disagrees. He yells at both of them and says the plan is not over.
I brought you in on this because you had brains and balls.
He insists that they will still collect the ransom from Tom, no matter what.
The kid's gonna die when we don't need him anymore.
Meanwhile, in Tom's luxurious penthouse, news stations start reporting about Sean's kidnapping and the ransom drop. The story spreads fast, appearing on every TV channel. The public now knows about the situation. Tom is also recalling the incident with Cubby and how Cubby was so confused when he asked for the address of Sean's. He had no idea what he was talking about, and now Tom suspects if Jimmy will even keep his part of the deal and return Sean after the random. Thus, he suggests not paying the ransom and finding other ways of claiming back his son.
If we give him what he wants, he will kill Sean. Tom, you gotta play the odds, man.
While all this is happening, Jimmy calls Tom again. This time, he gives him new directions about where to drop the ransom money.
This is how you want to play it, huh? You gonna bullshit me, Tom?
At first, Tom follows the new instructions, but soon, after listening to what Jimmy says, he changes his mind.
No FBI, you pay me, it shouldn't be a problem. Now we got a fucking circus out there.
Tom then tells Jimmy to turn on Channel 5 and watch the news for the next few hours. After saying this, he quickly ends the call. Right away, Tom heads to a local news station. Once there, he interrupts the regular news broadcast. He sits behind a desk with all the $2 million ransom money placed around him so everyone watching can see it. Looking directly at the camera, Tom makes a bold and unexpected statement. He will not pay the ransom.
But this is as close as you'll ever get to it. You'll never see $1 of this money.
Instead of giving in to the kidnapper's demands, Tom turns the money into a public reward. He tells the audience that anyone who helps capture or even kill the kidnapper will receive the full amount. Tom's TV move is bold, but also a Hail Mary, either genius or suicidal. Tom makes it clear that the kidnapper will never touch a single dollar. However, he says if Sean is returned safely, he'll cancel the reward.
So you still have a chance to do the right thing.
Tom then goes back home. His wife and Hawkins are shocked by what he just did. They weren't expecting him to make such a dangerous move, but Tom stands by his decision. He manages to convince his wife that this is the only way to save their son.
But I know if I give him the money, he'll kill Sean. I would if I was him.
He believes that if the kidnappers get the money, they will kill Sean anyway. Tom says that Cubby's actions during the first ransom drop make him realize this was the likely outcome. At the hideout, things are falling apart. Jimmy starts losing control over the group. The other kidnappers panic after seeing the news about the bounty. They are now more determined than ever to kill Sean. But Jimmy got there on time to save Sean, claiming it's still not time to kill the boy.
Stay down! You want to stay down there forever, maggot? Nobody pulls out on me. You know me.
Jimmy sees that things are getting out of hand, so he tries to take back control by creating a new plan. He secretly sends a message to Kate, Tom's wife. In the message, he tells her to meet him alone at an old renovated church at 2 a.m. and not to tell Tom about it.
If Mr. Mullen knows about this...
When Kate arrives at the church, Jimmy is wearing a ski mask. He suddenly appears, scares her, and threatens to cut Sean open if they don't pay the ransom. To make his threat more real, he gives her Sean's bloody shirt. Kate is terrified. She goes home in shock, clearly traumatized by what she saw and heard. After this, she starts to doubt Tom's decision. She is no longer sure that refusing to pay the ransom is the right move. Hawkins notices this and tries to convince her that paying the ransom is the only safe way to bring Sean back. But Tom still doesn't give up. Instead, he walks outside and speaks directly to the group of reporters waiting in front of their house. He makes another surprising announcement. The reward is now doubled to $4 million. Doubling the bounty? Now it's personal. Jimmy's ego won't let this slide. Now, Jimmy becomes even more desperate. He calls Tom again and lets Sean speak for a few seconds to prove he's still alive. Then, Jimmy demands the ransom money again, but neither Jimmy nor Tom is willing to back down.
You got one more chance to pay up. Well, you're never going to talk to him again. No.
Their talk quickly turns into an angry shouting match. At the end of the call, Jimmy screams that he's going to kill Sean. To scare Tom and Kate even more, he fires a gun at a wall and then ends the call.
You want him? Yes! You want him?
Tom and Kate are left standing in fear, unsure if their son is still alive. Back at the hideout, the kidnapper's plan is falling apart completely. Jimmy walks to a laundromat nearby, trying to think of what to do next. Meanwhile, Clark and Miles begin packing their white van, getting ready to run away. Inside the house, Maris starts thinking again about killing Sean. While sitting in the laundromat, Jimmy comes up with one last desperate plan. He uses his police radio to send out a fake emergency call. Then he runs outside, flashes his badge, and pretends he's arresting Clark and Miles. But they quickly realize he's betraying them. Jimmy's fake arrest plan is messy. Desperation makes even smart criminals stupid. They try to escape using the van, but Jimmy shoots and kills both of them. To make it look like self-defense, he puts a used gun on Miles's body. At that moment, Maris steps out of the house and sees what just happened. Angry and shocked, she shoots Jimmy in the shoulder. Even though he's hurt and in pain, Jimmy shoots back and kills her. Police officers arrive shortly after. Jimmy stumbles back into the house and sits next to Sean. He calls for help on the radio, pretending he just found the kidnapper's location and rescued Sean. He stays beside Sean until the emergency service unit arrives and enters the house.
Whoa, 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 whoa! I'm a cop! Where? Hold your fire, I'm a cop.
Jimmy playing hero after murdering his crew? The audacity. Too bad Sean's memory isn't wiped. A short while later, Tom and Kate get the news. They rush to the scene to see their son. Luckily, Sean is alive. Tom thanks Jimmy, who is now being put into an ambulance, for saving his child.
Thank you.
In the days that follow, the police and the public treat Jimmy like a hero. But even though Sean is safe now, he has a hard time adjusting to normal life. He's afraid of the dark and struggles with bright lights because he was blindfolded for most of the time he was held captive.
No, we'll leave him on. We'll leave him on.
A few days later, Jimmy visits Tom's penthouse to collect the $4 million reward. Tom agrees to give it to him. He invites Jimmy into his study to write the check, but as Tom starts writing, Jimmy suddenly asks a serious question.
Can I ask you a personal question? Sure. Why didn't you pay the ransom?
Tom answers honestly. He says he couldn't give money to someone as cruel and evil as the kidnapper. He adds that if the situation had gotten worse, he might have been willing to pay 10 times that amount just to get Sean back safely. As they talk, Sean walks into the room and stops at the doorway when he notices his father is with a guest.
We're all a little two-faced in this day and age.
However, a while after he sees part of Jimmy's face and hears his voice distinctively, which brings back harsh memories. Suddenly, Sean freezes with fear and pees his pants. Sean's pants-wetting fear is the reveal we needed. No words, just primal terror. Tom notices this reaction from the corner of his eye. He also remembers hearing on the news that Maris might not have acted alone, so he feels like the dots are connecting finally.
God bless you.
Amidst this, Sean's mother came into the room and welcomed Jimmy with a warm hug and smile. Jimmy had to choose but to respond to her gratitude. Kate's hugging Jimmy is a brutal irony. The man who tortured her son gets a hero's embrace. This gives Sean the most terrifying feeling he could ever have, and Tom becomes sure of Jimmy's involvement in the kidnapping.
Fatima, would you please help me with some things downstairs?
Sean quietly leaves the room unnoticed, but the damage is done. Tom starts to feel uneasy.
Well, you probably want to be on your way.
He hands Jimmy the check, but his hand hesitates. Jimmy senses something is wrong. He quickly figures out that Tom might have realized the truth, that Jimmy was one of the kidnappers. To protect himself, Jimmy pulls out a gun and tells Tom to call the bank and send the money to his account instead. Tom agrees, but calmly suggests they go to the bank together. He promises that after the money is transferred, Jimmy can leave the country. Jimmy thinks for a moment and then accepts. Before they leave, he warns Tom that he might come back one day to kill Sean.
I took a bullet, and now you're gonna try to f me out of my money.
They soon leave the apartment together. In the car, Tom pretends he's calling a private jet company for Jimmy, but he's actually calling Hawkins and the FBI. He tells them that they will stop at the bank before heading to the airport. Jimmy becomes suspicious, but before he can listen to the phone call, Tom hangs up.
I'll explain everything later. Give Kate a call. Bye.
When they arrive at the bank, they are greeted like usual. Tom wires the money to Jimmy's account. Everything looks normal, but it's just a way to stall and buy time.
Get this man his money. Thanks very much. No problem. Just push enter and it's yours.
The FBI had already told the police that Jimmy was involved in the kidnapping. As Tom and Jimmy leave the bank, 2 officers try to arrest Jimmy.
Can we talk to you for a second, man? No, we have to detain you.
But he quickly pulls out a gun, shoots both officers, and runs into the street. Tom runs after him. They end up fighting in front of a store. During the fight, Tom grabs Jimmy's gun and points it at him. Police officers arrive and shout for Tom to drop the weapon. But Jimmy, though seriously injured, reaches for another gun hidden at his ankle.
Put the gun down, Tom. Put the gun down. No!
Tom sees what Jimmy is about to do and fires 1 shot. At the same time, Hawkins fires 3 more shots. All of them hit Jimmy, killing him. Hawkins triple tap on Jimmy. Overkill, but satisfying. No loose ends. Not long after, Kate arrives. She and Tom walk away together as the police take control of the scene. The movie ends as we see the persistent couple embracing each other and finally free of the threat of Jimmy's existence.